shows that these so-called political leaders don't understand the tax system themselves.
No.
They just think that
Trump does.
Well, and I was wondering about this with Trump because obviously, he didn't want to release his tax returns.
Why should he?
I agree, but they would probably show similar, saying, he doesn't really pay any taxes because he's doing what he does in real estate and probably understands what you understand.
It's always in the paper, but the people don't understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
There was this article in the New York Times who was after Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner is another rich Jewish real estate tycoon family in New York City who married Ivanka Trump, all that stuff. It's just families marrying families.
Sounds like royalty way back when.
Yeah.
Aristocracy.
And so the New York Times, this is a few months ago, was attacking Jared Kushner because he paid no taxes. And they were painting him out to be a criminal. And all Jared says, I just follow the tax code. Let me say this again. The tax code is not about paying taxes. The tax code is a series of incentives. Say, if you donate to your church, we'll give you a tax break. Mm-hmm. You grow food, we'll give you a tax break. You produce water, we'll give you a tax break. You provide oil, we'll give you a tax break. You provide real estate, we'll give you a tax break. So if you're paying taxes, you're not helping the government.
Right.
It's a different point of view. That's all I'm saying.
I've always felt and maintained that taxes were more about controlling behavior than they were about collecting revenue, right?
It is.
It's like saying, hey, if you don't do these things, you get punished. If
Yes.
you do them, you get rewarded.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really that simple, isn't it?
Tax code, my accountant, Tom Wheelwright, the smartest guy I know, he wrote a book called Tax-Free Wealth. It's a Rich Dad Advisor book. Uh-huh. If you're sick and tired of paying taxes, get the book. It's called Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright, CPA. He's the guy that guides me.
Well, and this is where I've always personally felt the pain. I've been an entrepreneur for decades now, generated a lot of income. And what I came to realize after a couple of decades of working nights, working weekends, launching businesses, doing startups, taking risks, doing all the things that entrepreneurs do, is that if you do that and you make regular income doing it, by the time you pay taxes, live any kind of a reasonable lifestyle, put your kids through school, you can't accumulate any real wealth.
No,
it's impossible. Taxes just deplete the ability to have wealth accumulation.
And I'll give you even worse advice.
Yeah.
Worse, I hate to break the bad news to you. So many young people, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or I'm going to quit my job and become an entrepreneur. The moment you quit your job, become an entrepreneur, you pay higher taxes.
Yeah.
You see, an entrepreneur will pay an employee will pay approximately 40%. This is all over the world. Employees pay approximately 40% of their income in taxes. Mm-hmm. Small entrepreneurs pay 65%. You can't get ahead that way.
No.
So Rich Dad as a company, we educate people about the big business side, the McDonald's side. Right. As Ray Kroc said, my business is real estate. So when I come in here, I'm looking at all your equipment and all this stuff. So this is depreciated at, pretty good rates.
Right.
But if you want long-term, not pay taxes, it's real estate.
Well, so you're starting my story. So I'm going to ask you, be my rich dad for a minute. And so if I'm a guy, and I am, that makes pretty high above average income,
You pay high above taxes.
I pay a lot of taxes, and
they'll never tell you that in school.
No, not at all. It's always, when you're making that kind of money, you can afford to pay more taxes. And I'm like, but why do I get punished for the more I produce, the more I'm punished? Which means that I can't produce as many jobs, I can't expand my business, I can't, all those things. And if you take the people who value create and punish them, and take the people who don't create and reward them, it doesn't take long to see where that might end. So I've logically worked all that out, but I've said, but what is the pivot point? How do I now go from this and say, I have some income, and I think I'm speaking for a lot of people who are watching this. I have some income. I maybe even have some accumulated capital. But how do I now, what are my steps to saying I want to move toward that rich dad mentality and find a way to eliminate my tax burden and actually accumulate some wealth?
Well, that's why I said education is really important, but not the stuff they teach you in school. Mm-hmm. If you do what they tell you in school, like doctors and lawyers, they pay the highest tax rates around.
Exactly.
That's not that intelligent, and they're the A students.
Yeah.
The C and D students like me, we don't pay taxes, but we hire good accountants, good attorneys, and we do what the tax code wants us to do. Mm-hmm. So, when the markets crashed in 2007, I thought I died and went to heaven because, they were giving real estate away and the interest rates dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Holy mackerel. I thought, thank you, Jesus, you've given me, so I borrowed $300 million and I bought all this real estate they're giving away and I depreciated it, I appreciated it and amortized it.
Mm-hmm.
So I made millions and paid no taxes on debt. I borrowed money. But that's what I'm trained to do.
Yeah.
I'm not trained as a lawyer, I'm not trained as an accountant, I'm not trained as a doctor, thank God. But I did have a rich dad. He's a man who never went to school, but he was trained by his accountants, his attorneys, his bankers and all that, real teachers, not these fake teachers in college.
In part, if you're not looking to become a professional that requires a certain educational process, do you think that the college education or quote unquote investing in tuition is probably not a good investment?
It depends on what you want to become. You want to be a doctor.
Me too. Yeah.
I should hope you go to med school.